ESEU dices que o mir perigo neo esta fora de você, mas dentro de sua propriamente? Napoleon Hill alert ava que o fracasso raramente acontece de uma só vez. Ele se infiltra lentamente, como uma sombra silenciosa, tomando espaço pouco a pouco et sufocar qualquer chance de vitória. Neo é a falta de talento, nem a ausência de oportunidades que destrói a maioria das pessoas. É a aceitaco gradual de uma mentira, a mentira de que o impossível existe. Pensem quantas vezes você já permitiu que o medo tomasse decisões msu lugar. Quantas portas foram fechadas neo porque neo estavam disponíveis, mas porque você nunca teve coragem de girar a maquinita. O impossível, na verdade, é apenas a soma de todas as desculpas que você já contou para si mesmo. Mas quanto mais você alimenta essas desculpas, mais fortes elas se tornam, e que dia passam a controlar tudo. Hill chamava isso de hipnose do fracasso. Estado mental que a pessoa, sem perceber, se acostuma a acreditar que nada mudará. E como andar por corredor escuro, ouvindo passos atrás de você, sem nunca saber se há algo realmente lá. Ou é apenas a sua mente criando monstros. Essa escuridão mental paralisa. E pouco a pouco você se acostuma ao medo como quem se acostuma ao som de relógio marcando as horas, e desquecer que ele está ali, mesmo que esteja controlando cada movimento. O que mais assusta nesse processo é que ele é silencioso. Ninguém acorda de repente e descobre que desistiu de vida. É declínio lento, quase imperceptível. Primeiro você deixa de acreditar em sonho. Depois, comica a ser menos do que merece. Em seguida passa a viver no automático. E quando finalmente percebe, já está preso em uma rotina que neo escolheu, dominado por pensamentos que neo são seus, mas que parecem reis demais para serem questionados. E é aqui que a filosofia de Hill assume uma face sombria. E se você neo controla a sua mente, alguém ou alguma coisa fará isso por você. A dúvida, o medo, a crítica e a procrastinação se tornam como espectros invisíveis, rondando a sua vida e sussurrando todos os dias que você neo é capaz. O impossível, nesse estado, deixa de ser uma palavra e passa a ser a sua realidade. Agora imagine-se no futuro, olhando para trás e percebendo que deixo anos se perderam. O tempo é implacável. Cada segundo que você acredita no impossível é segundo que seu verdadeiro potencial é enterrado vivo. É como estar diante de uma porta que dá acesso a tudo o que você sempre desejou, e escolher nunca abri-la. A pergunta é quando você vai decidir viver aprisionado nessa sala invisível? Napoleon Hill dizia que o medo é ladrão cruel, porque ele não rouba de uma vez só. Ele rouba em parcelas. Rouba a sua iniciativa, a sua energia, a sua coragem, e que resta apenas uma sombra do que você poderia ter sido. E esse é o verdadeiro horror. Não morrer sem nunca ter tentado, mas viver sem nunca ter realmente vivido. O impossível é uma prisão mental. E cada dia que você permanece nela, as grades se tornam mais grossas. Mas há uma escala. Sempre houve. Você pode, agora mesmo, decidir romper esse ciclo, desafiar o medo e provar que o impossível não passa de fantasma. A decisão é sua. É urgente. Porque o tempo não para, e cada dia que passa é dia que nunca mais voltará. Você pode se levantar, assumir o controle de sua mente e começar a caminhar dirico ao impossível, transformando-o em realidade. Ou pode continuar exatamente como está, esperando que as coisas mudem sozinhas, assistindo a vida escapar entre os dedos. Mas cuidado, a cada instante que você adia essa escala o perigo aumenta. A sombra do fracasso está sempre à espreita, esperando você baixar a guarda. E a única forma de vencê-la é alimentar todos os dias a mentalidade de que nada é impossível. Se você não fizer isso, o impossível fará de você a sua próxima vítima. Backhand index pointing right inscreva-se agora no canal para não perder os próximos conteúdos baseados nos ensinamentos de Napoleon Hill. Não deixe que a procrastinação rouba a sua chance de transformação. Thought balloon e prepare-se. No próximo vídeo você vai descobrir que são os 6 medos invisíveis que já estão controlando a sua vida sem que você perceba? Você tem certeza de que está pronto para encarar a verdade? it as proof of inability. But Hill teaches us to view failure as a lesson, as a stern but fair teacher, who offers lessons that no immediate victory could offer. How many ideas have been abandoned too soon simply because someone accepted the word impossible as a final sentence? The world is full of dead projects, buried dreams, and untapped talents because someone decided to believe more in their fears than in their possibilities. This is where the great mental shift comes in. Understanding that the word impossible is merely the opinion of someone who gave up. Napoleon Hill also emphasized the power of imagination. According to him, every achievement begins mentally as a clear, detailed image, constantly repeated until it takes root in the subconscious. The mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's intensely imagined. Therefore, when you vividly visualize your victory, your mind begins to work, often unconsciously, to transform that vision into reality. It's as if you're programming your brain to find paths, opportunities, and solutions that previously went unnoticed. Another key point is persistence. Many have initial faith, start enthusiastically, but give up when the first obstacles appear. Hill, however, reminds us that the true test of the impossible lies in perseverance. Persisting when everything seems to be going wrong, continuing to believe when everyone doubts, holding firm when the path becomes lonely. This is the difference that separates those who achieve from the rest of the crowd. Looking back, we realize that all of humanity's greatest achievements were born from people who refused to accept limits. Think of the Wright brothers, who were ridiculed for believing that man could fly. Think of Nikola Tesla, who defied the understanding of his time by exploring electrical currents that seemed like witchcraft to many. Each of them faced disbelief, criticism, and failure, but remained true to the idea that nothing was impossible. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times you've stopped trying for fear of looking ridiculous, being criticized, or failing? These fears are the true thieves of dreams. Hill said that fear is humankind's greatest enemy because it paralyzes us before we even attempt it. When you convince yourself that something is impossible, you don't even take the first step. And it's precisely that first step that could open doors that would completely change your life. The big difference between those who succeed and those who fall by the wayside isn't intelligence, talent, or even luck. It's the courage to persist when it seems unlikely. It's the audacity to believe when logic suggests giving up. It's the decision to go the extra mile when everyone else stops. This inner strength doesn't come suddenly, but it can be trained every day. Napoleon Hill believed that every person possesses infinite potential, but only those who nourish their minds with the certainty of what is possible can unleash that power. You may be surrounded by difficulties right now, you may have bills to pay, heavy responsibilities, and a crushing routine. But within you lies the ability to transform all of this. What's missing isn't skill but mindset. When you adopt the belief that nothing is impossible, you begin to act differently. You begin to see opportunities where you previously saw problems. You begin to make decisions you would have previously postponed. You attract people, ideas, and situations that resonate with your new mindset. It's as if life begins to respond to your new belief system. And indeed, that's what happens. No external limits can defeat someone who has already decided internally that they will succeed. The true prison is mental. And true freedom is believing in the impossible and acting as if it were already possible. If there's a silent enemy that destroys more dreams than any real obstacle, it's doubtful. Napoleon Hill warned that doubt is a form of mental poison. It starts small, like a voice whispering, "What if it doesn't work?" Over time, that whisper becomes a scream, and the person ends up giving up before even trying. The mindset that nothing is impossible requires, above all, vigilance against these self-destructive thoughts. Imagine someone who decides to start a business. At first they're excited, full of energy. But soon, external voices arise. This is too risky, the economy isn't helping, you don't have enough experience. With each negative remark, the flame of motivation is extinguished. What few realize is that the real enemy isn't outside, but within. It's when the mind absorbs these words and begins to believe them that the dream dies. Hill said that one must protect the mind as if it were a sacred vault, because what goes in determines what goes out into the world. One of Hill's greatest teachings is that faith doesn't have to be blind, but rather unshakable. It's not about believing in something absurd, but about cultivating such a strong conviction in your ability that no adversity can tear it away. This faith must be nourished daily with affirmations, visualizations, and concrete actions. It's like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Another key point is the environment. Hill emphasized the importance of surrounding yourself with like-minded people. He created the concept of the mastermind, the idea that two or more minds aligned in harmony create an invisible force capable of multiplying results. Being around negative people is like trying to run with weights on your feet. On the other hand, being around people who believe in the impossible makes you run faster and further. This collective strength also helps sustain faith when difficulties arise. Think of great inventors, leaders, or entrepreneurs. They rarely achieved the impossible alone. They had teams, partners, mentors, people who reinforced their vision when everything seemed to be falling apart. Adopting the mindset that nothing is impossible doesn't mean fighting alone, but choosing the right allies for the journey. And there's another subtle enemy that needs to be fought: procrastination. Hill said that procrastination is the silent killer of opportunities. How many projects have you put off until tomorrow? How many dreams have been postponed until they become nothing more than distant memories? Procrastination is rooted in fear. The fear of failure, of being judged, of losing. But by delaying, you're already losing. Those who believe nothing is impossible act, even when afraid, even without guarantees. Human mind works best when it has a roadmap from those who achieve. The impossible becomes more tangible when organized into concrete steps. Finally, Hill always reminded us that the mindset that nothing is impossible requires courage to challenge majority opinion. The secret is to take the first step, however small, however imperfect, doubt. Because clarity comes with action, because they are trapped by their own limitations. Another powerful aspect is emotional control. Believing in the impossible believing in the impossible doesn't mean ignoring difficulties, but controlling how you react judgment to them. Is inevitable. Hill said that those who don't control their emotions are controlled by yours. Anger, anyone who wants to achieve the impossible must develop the ability to go against the current. But those who learn to remain calm when else is volatile, even in storms, to be bold when everyone else is cautious, others only see chaos, to persevere when everyone else is weary. Also requires discipline. This is the essence of Hill's believing teaching. In great achievements is a mindset so strong that no external force can destroy that goal. Napoleon Hill asserted that consistent actions are more powerful than bursts of enthusiasm followed by giving up. This mastery is not merely theoretical, but practical, transforms discipline into a bridge between dreams and reality. For many, the mind is like a wild horse in how we interpret aimlessly. Many give up because they want immediate limiting beliefs, but Hill reminded us that great achievements require patience. Said that those who learn to tame their mind can lead it to any destination. Each day of accumulated effort creates a solid foundation. One of the most powerful ways to achieve this control as the years pass. Hill insisted that we are the sum of our daily habits. Small think about your life right over time shape who we become. What dreams have you given up on because you thought they were every day with doubts, complaints, and negative thoughts trying because someone told you it was impossible of limitations? What if, instead of giving up, those who cultivate discipline, persistence, how many doors would already be open today? That little by little transforms the impossible into reality. The impossible is simply another fundamental point is the power of purpose. The mindset that nothing is impossible isn't like ships adrift. It's a necessity for those who want to escape mediocrity. A defined purpose acts as a comfortable because it doesn't require risk, even in the darkest moments. But it's precisely in this comfort that dreams die. Any obstacle seems insurmountable. Is a call to live with constant growth. Even the greatest challenge becomes just another step. From failures, and the impossible can only be overcome when one has a strong enough reason to continue. Live in a different reality. This is where many fail. It's as if they even want invisible map that others ignore. They want success but don't know why. They want money but don't understand they see learning. Hill made it clear that desire needs to be linked to a deep emotional reason. Napoleon Hill asserted that there is an invisible force that guides men who refuse to accept the impossible. The impossible loses its power. This principle, but there's something even more dangerous than a lack of purpose. Is not magic, the influence of a negative and conscious repetition. Hill observed when you constantly tell yourself that you are capable, talent, that you will achieve, because they allow themselves to be contaminated by defeatist programming your subconscious to living with pessimist corrodes the mind like rust. This programming becomes stronger than any external influence. It's too hard. Many ignore the power of the subconscious mind and live hostage to automatic end up absorbing this mental poison. Society. Therefore, Hill reinforced the importance of shielding your mind. But Hill reminds us that the mind can be carefully selecting the people you share your plans with, choosing the content you consume, and protecting yourself from the avalanche of negative information that tries to impose limits. Anyone who wants to achieve the impossible must be willing to swim against the tide of mediocrity. Alter the course Another of a powerful lesson from Hill is that failure carries the role of decisive of success. He observed that successful people make decisions quickly and change one of life's greatest teachers, while unsuccessful people do the opposite. Reveals something that needs to be adjusted. This characteristic is no coincidence. Every obstacle reveals a weakness that nothing is impossible. Trust themselves. Those who see the impossible as a definitive defeat and do not fear external judgment. But those who see it as a necessary step accumulate wisdom and build a strength that no having clarity of objectives and this is precisely where one of the greatest secrets emerges. Indecision is fear's twin sister. Hill observed that the most successful men weren't necessarily the most intelligent or talented. How many opportunities have been lost because someone waited too long for criticism, failure, and rejection? Hill reminds us that certainty never comes before action. Resilience is the practical translation of the belief that nothing is impossible. A firm decision is the first step toward transforming the impossible into the possible. Hill said that those who seek absolute security never achieve great results. He believed that all the ideas that have transformed the world were born in unknown territories, dared to take on greater responsibilities, but unlike passive imagination, which merely fantasizes, without risk there is no growth. Imagination combines with the impossible remains impossible. It's when you visualize something that doesn't yet exist, the greatest enemy tirelessly until it becomes a reality. Hill identified 6 basic fears that paralyze humanity: than an idea that hasn't yet been brought to criticism, but it's important to remember that the path to the impossible is lonely. Fear of death. Often you'll be the only one who believes in your decisions. There will be days who believe in the impossible when no one recognizes your efforts. There will be times when it seems like nothing is refusing to allow them to determine the course of their lives. It's in these moments that the mindset is understanding that believing in the impossible requires persistence when everything suggests giving up is what separates the winners from those who fall by the wayside. Hill studied cases of persistence as a virtue built before achieving recognition. It's not just about resisting, but about learning to adapt. Those who want immediate results give up quickly. Is merely a warning to adjust your strategy. Each step is part of a long process are willing to continue. Those who believe in the impossible interpret it as a mindset that nothing is simple mental adjustment changes how we deal with the way you react to life. For most, another powerful aspect is a source of burning desire. For those who believe criticism is no significant achievement is born beyond the norm. Desire. Hill said that if no one is laughing at you or doubting your dreams, to sustain a person through difficult times. Criticism is without this inner stepped out of your comfort zone and into territory where the impossible can be challenged. Even the greatest difficulties become fuel. This journey also requires emotional discipline to an unwavering will. However, you'll be the only one who believes in your lack of focus. Friends and family may doubt they can do anything but don't choose a specific path, closest to you may try to convince you to give up. The secret isn't to vaguely believe in the impossible, seems no one understands your belief to a defined goal. The mental strength be clear about what you want and focus all your efforts on that goal. When the mind is fully committed to a goal, without this, the energy is dispersed and the dream never materializes. Not in a mystical sense, clarity is what transforms a simple idea into an action to arise. Connections emerge, ideas flow. Turning dreams into written plans. It's focus. He argued that writing all your energy in detail, the steps necessary to achieve a goal is one of the greatest secrets to success. This is because the action is what you begin to notice who dream from those who went unnoticed. Many people get stuck in theories, what many call luck, planning, but which is actually just the effect of a trained preparing but never starting. Those who adopt this mindset realize that the impossible is not a wall, but a veil. The secret is to take the first step, however small, but as you get closer, you discover because clarity comes with action. This is the true power of Hill's teaching. Another powerful aspect is emotional control. Is not a real believing in the impossible doesn't mean that disappears when you decide to face it. Controlling how you react to them. What if I told you that the greatest danger isn't outside of you, their emotions are controlled by them? Napoleon Hill warned that failure rarely happens all at once. Fear can bring down even the most talented. Slowly, like a silent shadow. But those who learn to remain calm and resilient, over until it suffocates any chance of solutions where others only see chaos. It's not a lack of talent, nor a lack of opportunities that destroys most people. Believing in great achievements isn't enough. The gradual acceptance of a lie. You need to build daily habits that support that goal. Think about how many times actions are more powerful than bursts of enthusiasm. How many doors have been closed not because they weren't available, but because you never had the courage to turn into a bridge between dreams and reality. In fact, is just the greatest secret of all the excuses you've ever told yourself. Many give up because they want immediate results. The stronger they become, Hill reminded us until one day they control require patience. Hill called time is the ally of those who persist. A mental state in which accumulated without realizing it becomes accustomed to believing that nothing will change. But powerful as the years pass. It's like walking down a dark hallway. Those who give up early never see what they could have built. Never knowing if something is really your life right now, or if it's just your mind creating given up on because you thought they were impossible. Mental darkness paralyzes. How many times have you stopped trying because someone told you it wasn't possible? Like someone becomes accustomed to the sound of the clock ticking away a little longer until you forget it's there. How many doors would already be open every day? The scariest thing about this process is that it's silent. The impossible is simply the possible that was cut short too soon. They've given up on life. The mindset that nothing is impossible isn't a luxury. Decline. It's a necessity for those who want to escape mediocrity. Then you start accepting less than you deserve because it doesn't require risk. Then you start living on autopilot. But it's precisely in this comfort that dreams die. You're already stuck in a rut you didn't choose, to live in constant dominated by thoughts facing challenges but seem too real to failures and never accepting. And this is where Hill's philosophy takes a dark turn. Those who believe in the impossible live in a different reality. Someone or something will It's as if they see an invisible map that others ignore. Criticism and procrastination become like invisible specters. Where most see failure, they see whispering daily that you're incapable. Most stop, they continue. The impossible, in this state, ceases to be a word and becomes your reality. That there is an invisible force that guides men. Now imagine yourself in the future, refuse looking back and realizing you've let years slip away. Time is relentless, present in his every second you believe in the impossible is a second your true potential is buried alive. Repetition. It's like standing before a door that gives access to everything you've ever wanted to achieve and choosing never to stop you. You are programming your subconscious to work in your favor. Being imprisoned in this invisible cell. This programming becomes stronger than any external influence. Because many ignore the power of the subconscious mind and live hostage to automatic thoughts. It steals your initiative, your energy, your negative past until only a shadow of what you could have been remains. But Hill reminds us that the mind can be reprogrammed. And that is the true horror. By repeating empowering phrases, visualizing goals without ever having truly lived faith, the impossible is limiting beliefs with empowering convictions. And every day you remain in it, this process requires discipline, but there is a choice. The results are so profound that they can completely alter the course of a person's life. This cycle, Hill also emphasized the role of the impossible is nothing more than a ghost. He observed that successful people make decisions quickly and change their minds slowly, because time doesn't stop, and every day that passes is a day that will never return. This characteristic is no coincidence. You can stand up, take control of your mind, nothing is impossible toward the impossible, are turning it into reality choices, or you can stay exactly as you are, waiting for things to change on their own. Does not mean acting recklessly through your fingers, but rather having clarity of objectives and the courage to move forward without hesitation. The price increases. Indecision is the shadow of failure is always lurking. Together they imprison for you to let your guard down. Directionless and the only way to overcome it is to nurture have been lost every day someone waited too long for absolute certainty. If you don't, reminds us that certainty never comes before action. Backhand index pointing journey that the path to the channel now to stay updated on upcoming content first step toward transforming the impossible into the possible. Don't let procrastination rob you of your chance for transformation. Creative imagination. Pop balloon and get ready. He believed that all in the next video you'll find out what these invisible in the mind of someone who dared controlling your life without you realizing it. But unlike passive imagination, which merely fantasizes, creative imagination combines with practical action. It's when you visualize something that doesn't yet exist and work tirelessly until it becomes a reality. The impossible is nothing more than an idea that hasn't yet been brought to life. But it's important to remember that the path to the impossible is lonely. Often you'll be the only one who believes in your vision. There will be days of silence when no one recognizes your efforts. There will be times when it seems like nothing is working, that every step is in vain. It's in these moments that the mindset advocated by Hill becomes vital. Persistence when everything suggests giving up is what separates the winners from those who fall by the wayside. Persistence is a virtue built through practice. It's not just about resisting but about learning to adapt. Hill said that temporary defeat is merely a warning to adjust your strategy. Many interpret defeat as the end. Those who believe in the impossible interpret it as a lesson. This simple mental adjustment completely changes the way you react to life. Another powerful aspect is burning desire. Hill was categorical. No significant achievement is born of weak desire. Desire must be intense, almost obsessive, to sustain a person through difficult times. Without this inner fire, any obstacle collapses. But with it, even the greatest difficulties become fuel. The impossible bends before an unwavering will. However, Hill also warned of the dangers of a lack of focus. Those who believe they can do anything but don't choose a specific path end up wasting energy. The secret isn't to vaguely believe in the impossible, but to apply that belief to a defined goal. Be clear about what you want and focus all your efforts on that goal. Without this, energy is dispersed and the dream never materializes. This clarity is what transforms a simple idea into an action plan. And here's another lesson from Hill: turning dreams into written plans. He argued that writing down in detail the steps necessary to achieve a goal is one of the greatest secrets to success. This is because the